you write something which is really interesting.
Yeah. And again, that's that dynamic.
It's a living process.
Yes, it is. And you don't have that in movies.
No.
Because the director is God.
Yeah, and
it's particularly interested in what the writer says or the characters or the actors say after a certain point. Because it's their vision.
We don't have the director. We don't have a director here on the panel, really. So you're right. You are God here.
Yes, right.
You're one of those gods you keep talking about. I look at that playing on the big screen. This is a beautiful theater here, and seeing it on the big screen here. And I look at that, and it's got the quality of motion pictures, which, you know, so much of television seems to be eclipsing a lot of movies now. It seems to be a more exciting medium to work in. More freedom, would you say?
Yeah.
But you've obviously done both, Elizabeth, the Golden Age, and all the movies and things. But
history's philosophy, no matter what type of program that we're doing, is, you know, we're the network, and we hire creative people to make creative products. You know, when we push the button to move into a space, that was our decision to move in there, and then we bring on the talent to execute it. And I think you have to keep those lines clear about what your role is, and in my experience, that pays off.
it's great too. And I keep thinking the History Channel, you've got so much you can do, because that covers, a lot of these cable channels are niche, they have a certain thing they do, but history, you do everything that was like not today. You gotta
Well, you know, the tagline, or the former tagline, it was history made every day. I mean, here we go, living it, you know.
It's amazing,
So,
Sorry, but you said it looked like a movie on John Bartley, so you told me.
Yes.
And you know Henry.
Yeah.
Directed the first three, they really said, look at
The directors, you've got some really fine directors.
Fantastic.
and shooting in Ireland should be mentioned. The entire Irish production unit out there was absolutely remarkable. I thought.
This is all shot on location in Ireland completely.
sunny days.
How do you guys
Very little green screen as well. Everything in Ireland is there for us. There are, to make the fjords, we have to add a little bit onto the top of the mountains, a bit of snow. But other than that, it's our playground. It's amazing. You get up to the top of the mountains, you've got the most incredible vistas. It's just a phenomenal place to film. And the crew that we've got have been together for a long, long time.
It's just brave fun.
Yeah, brave fun.
If one of them hate you, they all hate you.
They don't know how to shoot out in those terrains and with the changeable weather, then no one can. They're the best at what they do. They're brilliant.
Fantastic. I'm going to ask some more questions from the Facebook people here. One ties into the clips we just saw. From Pamela Simmons wants to know, I would like to know how long it takes for costume makeup for Ragnar and Lagatha. The ones who get them ready are amazing, but it must take a good bit of time to get into this character.
You want to answer this, George? The extensions were, it was like a little girl makeup. That's my worst day of my life, I think. 9 hours in the chair, getting my extensions in. Dee Cochran is just so talented, and I'm going to give credit to her. She's the and what's Tommy's last name? Tom McInerney. He's a makeup, and he's also brilliant. Because they were so creative. Everybody's just so creative. It's amazing. On the show. It doesn't, like you said about Nick, I don't want to say anything bad execs, but normally on a show, not this show, there's no way I could have that haircut. I'd say that's.
Vikings have long, straggly hair, don't they?
I think each character is completely different, and the costume and hair and makeup people took time and a lot of energy and research, making each one of us completely different, and help me to even when I'm getting to the character. So after a while, it's such a relief, because the more raw, the better. The less makeup, the better. The more dirt on your face, or the more blood and war, and you don't usually get that on television. So it's I think at the end, to answer your question, I think at the end of the shoot, it was down to like half an hour, 40 minutes, just quickly braid the hair and add a few bones in it, and boom.
Simple. What about you guys too? Does it help you the minute you get into those costumes? I mean, really to start finding that character? Or
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, my haircut helped quite a lot.
My guy liner. No children would talk to me, no women would talk to him. we had, at least a lot of guys, some guys had wigs and put on beards and that, but Georgie.
Yeah.
And that bald spot. And I had to walk around with a ponytail thing and little kids crossing the street and that.
and some of us always have to walk around like that. Boo-hoo.
Our cast is a big ensemble cast, but it's a ginormous cast because we have the most amazing supportive artists as well, and we have massive crowd scenes. And you go into the studio and you see the amount that has to be done just to kind of to get the crowd up to speed. There's hundreds of wigs and beards. It's a ginormous job every day for that crew.
It is funny when they collect the moustaches. Before lunch, they take everybody's moustache.
Okay. And like it widely reported in the sagas that on the battlefield after battle, when the ravens and the crows are feasting on the corpses, that the figure of Odin, a tall man in a wide-brimmed hat, was seen walking round the battlefield, choosing the warriors who he would take with him to Valhalla. The Valkyries come down and carry them up. Now, that's not fantasy. Okay, that's true to Viking psychology. To use too much of it, I think people would say it's fantasy. You know, and I don't like fantasy, so I didn't want to risk that. So occasionally I lace it in and I put it in. And it's like I give this example, which I think is valid. If I was writing about the life of Christ, and I show his dead body and then his resurrection, is that fantasy? No, to a Christian it's true. To a Viking, seeing Odin on the battlefield is true.
So that's the answer, Jared, there. Now, Nate Dole, along these lines, what's the meaning behind licking the hand of the oracle?
I had to do that scene and I was just like, oh.
Yeah? In the role of Rolla with your knowledge of the sword and your previous roles, because you're quite the swordsman.
Hey.
Not sure how we get the role, but it makes. I always see the sword fights, and especially in this show, as another chance to tell the story. And Richard Bryan, our swordmaster, is very good. He has this approach where, when you go into a fight, you rehearse and you rehearse and you learn and you learn, and you get it to the point where it becomes like a dance. But there's too much of that on TV now. There's lots of very shaky camera stuff, and everyone is just a superhero. And it's about breaking that mold and making the character be vulnerable. It goes into battle, it's a land where it's kill or be killed, and you could easily come out of that battle and you're dead. And what Richard does is he works with you to try and forget them. Once they're there, they're there. And at the time when you have to put your sword there, you will do that. But if there's someone coming from behind you and takes your attention for a second, then the danger's there. You're going to cleaved in half. And it's about making it look like you're in the moment rather than it looking. So you can actually get to the point and be the best sword fighter in the world, but it doesn't necessarily translate as a good action scene in the show. So it can actually be a hindrance sometimes, being too good with the sword.
I really like I think the action scenes in the show are so authentic looking. I mean, you really like great choreography or however it's done. You know, it's amazing. Now here's, I love these Twitter people. They've got, this is from Bridget Richards at Garnet Gypsy 91. Hello all. Now that season 2 production is beginning to get underway, June 24th, I think. What would you like most for your characters this season? And since you're sitting here next to Michael, you can sort of order it up right now. And what would you like? What would you like most for your character this season?
Lots of things. No, I think it would be exciting to see Athelstan become more of a Viking, and maybe I'll get to do some of this fighting and Ride a horse, maybe? Possibly. Yeah, no, I'd like to ride a horse.
Jesselyn, obviously Siggy's had a really hard time. What do you want to happen this next season?
You know, I feel like I'm at an incredible deficit, which is that I've never really, and I'm not saying this to be a Pollyanna, I do think in this, because Michael's actually said that he's receptive to suggestions, I'm terrible at making suggestions. I'm not a writer. And so I think I sometimes see things that aren't there, which I think is a good thing, you know, so maybe I play into corners that maybe hadn't maybe been predicted or something. But I could never have conceived of this woman. This character to me is I mean, you could just write a whole book on her. She's absolutely fascinating, and I can't take any credit for that. So you won't see much of me because I don't have any ideas.
Okay, anybody else have any?
Whatever's, I don't feel like I have specific events or anything that I want to happen to Floki. Michael asked me, we had a discussion, but whatever is specific and playable and fun as an actor to do is good. If it's good material, it's a good scene. That's more important rather than what's actually happening to the character, I would say, as an actor. And so, yeah.
For me,
forward to that.
The difference between Ragnar and Rollo is there's a lot of historical documentation about Rollo, and I don't want to go into it now because it's a kind of spoiler. If you want to look into it, then you can, and I don't want to give anything away because I have no idea if we're going to get there. But a lot of Ragnar stuff is in the sagas, and I'm just enjoying, I kind of have an idea of where he can go, and I'm just enjoying creating all these problems and just indulging in this journey about how he gets there. So I'm just kind of enjoying the ride, and Michael gives it, I'm sure it's going to be.
And along the lines here, I have a question from Renegar at Renegar. That's easy. Renegar at Renegar. Gustav, Floki's little giggles, jigs, and his lovable kookiness is brilliantly acted. Whose idea was it to play him in this way?
Mine?
That's true. It's absolutely true.
Well, I don't know. It's always weird, you know, how you, like, I never decide. Well, you know, it's like the only thing that I decided upon specifically with this character was that I wanted him to have sort of a lean, because I figured he's been carrying an axe around for all his life, you know, chopping those boats and stuff. But that was kind of it. And then it just like you dive into the material, then you just let it take you somewhere, take you places. The character. So it wasn't like I always try not to have too fixed an idea how the character should be played, and then just live it. And I also want to say that Johan had a big part in that, because he inspired me like already from like in the auditions. He inspired me to dare to go that far with the character. If I would have chickened out and not gone the full way, I don't think it would have been as good. So he really inspired me to dare to go all the way with
Well, we're almost at the end of this portion. And by the way, there's going to be a big reception in the lobby, like food and drink and stuff, and so stay for that, folks. But I do want to wrap it up.
They're better. I can remember, I've been in this business one way or another now for actually quite a long time, and I can remember many, many disappointments of seeing things made from my work in which I'd run these movies in my imagination for a long time, and then I actually went to see it, and it was very disappointing, and the character.
Thanks, guys.